Hi guys, welcome to our 50th 50th YouTube session, live session. I'm Wayne. I'm MD of Brew York,
and I'm Lee, production director. And sorry, that I was chatting to someone in the audience as we went live.
I'm hoping he's gone live okay. I was trying to set the Instagram live streams to go, which I've just done. So if you're watching from Instagram, we're going to do a weird. Hello, welcome to Brew York's 50th live stream. I'm Wayne.
And I'm Lee.
Sorry about that. It's a little bit of juggling, like I say, while we're on the screen. So we've appeared on the screen in the room, so we know that we are live now. Hope everyone can hear us okay. We haven't got any audio issues. We usually have a little bit of a hiccup every once in a blue moon, but fingers crossed, not today. So welcome to our live audience. We've got a few people here today. I can't switch to you, but you can all cheer.
Thank you.
And welcome to everyone who's joined us from home. So all our subscribers and also anyone else who's joined us for the night. We're going to have a probably about 2 hours worth, 2 hours worth of drinking and talking. Lots of different beers to get through. Lots of questions to answer. Hopefully you'll be able to drink along at home, and we'll be able to tell you a little bit about the different beers we're about to try. We don't have any guests join us on camera this time. Everyone's getting a bit camera shy now. It's that time of year, I think. But if there is anyone you want us to join us on the next live stream, pop some suggestions in. We'll put it to the rest of the team and see what they think.
I've just noticed a major issue here.
What?
Where's our glasses?
Good job. I kept us some spares behind the curtain.
Right.
So we'll have to drink our pints and then fill the pints up. But
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
We're
going to have to sync this before we can even start.
So we're greedy. We like to have a can each on the live stream, but the audience get half a can each. So we only have half glasses. So we'll just have to double up, and hopefully everyone at home will drink along in the same speed as we do.
But I believe it does lead to some entertaining results. My wife tells me that she doesn't watch beyond the second beer because I get too embarrassing beyond that point. So we'll see how tonight goes.
As usual, 4 beers to try, which Lee's going to talk you through. But the most important bit is to get in. I was going to say Imperial Tonkoko. Sorry, that's not the one we're doing. Get Mookies and cream Imperial Tonkoko out of the fridge now. Get it warming up, because by the time we get to that in about 90 minutes, it's going to be a little bit warm. It's going to release a lot more of the flavour, and it's going to taste as good as we hope it will. Mm-hmm. So yeah, as usual, if you like our videos, click the like button, subscribe to us, and get lots and lots of questions in before I steal his line.
Cool, thank you. So in terms of the running order, 4 beers as always, starting off with Hop Sessions 11, so a hop changing pail in which we change the hops each month. That's going to be followed up by our favourite style, a West Coast IPA, the same thing that we already have in our glasses.
Pint chaser.
Yeah. So yeah, Beverly Hills Hop. We're going to follow that up with the kind of baby brother to Kirsch Russell, which we're calling Big Trouble in Little Kirsch. So a cherry pie sour coming in at a very sessionable 5.5%. And then we're concluding with the beer that Wayne has instructed you to get out of the fridge, which is the latest Wayne's idea. I would like to say that particular name.
We can't take credit for that one, yeah.
No, nor would we wish to.
It's a good one, Pete.
Cheers. Also, in your box this month, depending on what subscriber level you're at, you may have had the original Imperial Tonkoko, which of course we only do once a year. You'll have had the one you've all been waiting for, the low alcohol lager called Blue Jay. And then also the return of Rhubarb Streisand. Probably the least we say about that, the better. To get an explanation of that, maybe tune in next month.
So apologies, I switched the camera to Lee while he was doing the intro, and I forgot that his camera and his computer's muted. So while I switched him over to him, he was talking, but no sound was coming through to people back home. So sorry about that.
Let's do it. Right, quick rundown again.
Technology.
Very quick rundown again. We're starting out with a 4.2% hazy pale, hop changing. You'll find out shortly what hops are in it. Following that up with a West Coast 7.1 called Beverly Hills Hop. We're then doing a cherry pie sour coming in at 5.5, and we're concluding with a cookies and cream Imperial milk stout at 7.5.
Nice one. Why do you do that quick every month?
Well, we'll see. And also in your box, you might have had the original Imperial Tonkoko, a low alcohol beer called Blue Jay, low alcohol lager rather called Blue Jay, and possibly Rhubarb Streisand. Bit of a story to that one. Ask us again next month.
Yeah, Rhubarb didn't get it in the box in the end.
It didn't?
No, because the boxes went out a week ago. Perhaps
Right.
got packaged
We can.
yesterday.
Right, okay. Well, that's a relief for reasons we may yet reveal, but we'll see. So as we drink each beer, we'll be talking about the concept behind the beer, whether that be the recipe, the name, the brand, anything that's unique about the production technique, etc. We'll go into the detail of that. Hopefully lots of interesting content for you there. As Wayne has kind of already said a couple of times, we want you to get your questions in. The more interactive you can make this, the more enjoyable it will be for you, as well as myself and Wayne. So online, to get your questions in, you just type them below the video on whichever format. Wayne has the ability to then pop them up on screen if they're censored enough.
Good enough, yeah.
Or good enough. And in the room, if you have a question, pop your hand up, shout out, whatever. We will repeat your question for the benefit of those at home. And we will then attempt to answer it to the best of our ability. So after discussing each beer, we'll take on a little bit of a subject. A couple of those are regular features. So with the first beer, we always talk about highlights of the last month or so. And then with the last beer, we always tell you about what could be coming up in the box or what kind of events you might find us at in the imminent future. And then for the middle two beers, we talk about something a little bit novel. This time we're taking on the subjects of social media, in particular beer-related social media. And then we have a mystery topic for number 3, which will not be announced until we get to that particular point. So that's that. Finally, to say, if you have any feedback or would like to be in the audience at a future event, you can get that into info@brewyork.co.uk. So on to the first beer, which is Wayne to talk you through.
Hop Sessions 011.
Why did we get half pints?
So first beer up tonight is Hop Sessions 11. So if you're new to the channel, first time you watched, or not necessarily just new to us, if you might have forgotten, but this is our hop changing series. So we brew this beer usually around 1 a month we launch, and those beers typically it's the same grist bill, the same malt bill every month, which is the grist we use in the beer to get the body, but we change up the hops every single time. So we first brought it out, it was 4.5%. It's dropped down to about 4.2% now, because when we first brought it out, the intention was to work out what the best hop combo was for our new, well, at the time new, but our signature hazy pale, which is now called Coney. So, and once we found and nailed that recipe, we then dialed the beer back a little bit to make it a little bit more sessionable, make it a little bit different to Coney, so that we could then keep changing the hops up and see if there's any other good combos that are out there. So, yeah.
And I hope at home you've all done a better job of pouring that than I have.
Well, to be fair, I was watching the audience, and a few members of the audience poured it in a little bit of an interesting style as well. So it helps when the beer's colder. It pours a little bit easier when it's cold, and we didn't ice bucket ours, so hopefully ours are still cold.
Yeah, not that cold.
So in addition to the malt bill on this beer and the varying hops, we use our house yeast. So our house yeast is great for hazy pales. And this time we've brewed it with Johnny, our head brewer, his selection of hops. So we've gone quite tropical. So we've got Idaho 7. Do you know why it's called Idaho 7? Lee might tell you in a bit. But,
I knew that was coming.
We've also used Euconaut or Equinaut. The trademark name was in use.
I think there's a brewery called Equinox. So they contested them using that as the name for the hop, and then it got changed to Equinaut.
And then the last one in there is one of our favourites, which is Mosaic. So yeah, there's a prompt on the script for me to talk about my favourite fact about Idaho 7, but you don't need to prompt me. I'm always going to ask.
I knew it was coming.
So
go on, ask
prizes for the audience. Anyone dialing in from home or watching from home, or anyone in the audience, know why it's called Idaho 7?
See if you've been paying attention.
Yeah,
because in Idaho, yes, it was a wild cultivar that they found in the 7th row in the field, and they really liked it, and then they propagated it, they sell it, and now it's called Idaho 7.
We do need to do part of our Make It range. We need to do Make It Idaho 7, don't we? And
have we not?
I don't know. I've not seen it. It's a cask version. So when we do the hop session series.
Do you know why we haven't done it?
It'd be pretty intense.
No, because I undercontracted that.
Oh, right. You don't have enough of it.
It's used in time traveling taxi.
Right.
So we use a lot of it in there, and I didn't order enough on contract. So what we do have has to be reserved for that particular beer. So that's why we've never done it as a standalone thing.
So anyone joining us at home who's not been able to make it to our tap room before, or one of our other bars, or possibly you hopefully you'll have seen it in the wider use anyway. Hop Sessions is our hop changing keg and can variety of pails we do. We do a beer called Make It, and it's the Make It range, and it's usually a single hopped pail, and we do that cask only, so on hand pull. So right now we've got Make It. Centennial.
Well, Make It Equinox is about to get packaged next week.
So they're a great range of beers. If you like cask beer, this is usually what I tend to drink when I come into our bars. Today, though, it's all about the Kai Juice. Kai Juice is on cask downstairs. If you like American hoppy beers, that's the one.
Yeah, it's most common in beers to kind of combine hops, and that generally does lead to the better flavors. But if you want to learn about the individual characteristics of hops, it's a very good educational tool to just brew a simple beer with just one hop, and then you'll learn exactly what that one hop does in a beer. So that's why we do that particular series of beers.
So this is quite a nice combo. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's definitely tropical. It's easy drinking. I prefer it a lot more than I did the last one had Sabro in, didn't it? I'm not a big Sabro fan.
I think for me that the Equinox, no, we're not going to say a problem. It's the thing that's making it less tropical than it should be. So Equinox, for some reason, sometimes can be expressed tropically, and sometimes comes through like grass or green peppers. And I think this is more on the kind of green pepper edge of things, which is, stamping on a little bit of the tropical type character.
And that's why the single range hop series beers are great, because you can taste what that hop on its own contributes. You can then play about with them a little bit and blend them and see how you think you can make a combination work. But things like equal combination or equal quantities of the hops doesn't always work too well, because some hops are more overpowering than the others. So it's great to get the balance, but it's hard to do that unless you're going to brew lots and lots of different trials, which is how we got to Coney in the end, because we actually got to the right hop combo, and I think it was version 4 of Hop Sessions, and then we did a few unofficial 4s, 4.5s, and so on, and then we dialed in the
four was we'd landed on the right 3 hops, and then the other variants were changing the proportions of those hops until we got to the best combo, or at least as we saw it.
And it can make quite a big difference, because some, like I said, some hops are completely overpowering. Some hops taste really, really nice in small quantities, and then really cat pissy in large quantities.
Nice.
But, a lot of people don't like single hop Citra because they say it tastes Simcoe as well. But I really do. Like
it's unusual for a hop to be able to kind of be as expressive, be as well-rounded in a beer on its own as a combination of hops. There are a few that can do it. I think Cascade's the classic example that kind of established the craft beer wave about 40 odd years ago. But there aren't many hops that on their own play nicely. They usually need to be part of an orchestra as such. And I always like to think of it as the opposite of whiskey. So in whiskey world, it's that single malt that's going to be the finest thing. In hop/beer world, it's the complete opposite. It's very rare that the single hop alone is going to be the best thing. It's bringing some of those together that ends up in being the better thing. Whereas blends of whiskey, there's some all right ones out there. Johnny Walker do really nice blends, but for the most part, it's the singles that are going to be the better ones.
And we've got Hop Sessions 12 in tank right now, so that's going to be packaged very shortly, I think next week. Hop Session 12, it's got one of the ones that Lee was just talking about, Cascade in it. It's got Centennial, which is a big favourite of ours, and also Simcoe, which is one of the cat varieties. But again, using the right combination, it works really, really well. Simcoe's really, really nice hop. But one of my favourite Simcoe hopped beer names is the guys down in Bristol, all the Simcoe ladies. That's quite.
That's so bad. We could have come up with it.
Exactly. That's Arbor, I think, who did that one.
They've got another really good name. Which right question
My Little Sabroni.
It is. Thank you. Yeah. Anyway, right, at this point, we usually talk through highlights of the last month. Do you want me to go first?
Go for it, yeah.
Yeah, so I've had a very, very busy last month. So brewery-wise, I've been doing lots of maintenance. We've added vessels here. This is Walmgate, and we've added vessels at Handley. I went to one of the best gigs I've ever been to. A mate of mine.
Taylor Swift.
Oh, of course, yeah. I went and saw Korn at the Open Air Theatre in Scarborough, which was absolutely amazing. Stunning venue. Absolutely brilliant venue, and they put on a hell of a show, I've got to say. Really enjoyed that. In this very room, I held a bottle share with the various volunteers, including yourself, Melissa, who helped support the Merchant Adventurers Beer Festival that I did. We got through, but basically, this table's worth of beer in bottle. Did not feel too great the day after that. And then I've been going to the cinema a lot as well. And seeing lots of classics like Terminator, that's been back out in the cinema, and Pulp Fiction. And then the thing I must not fail to mention is it was my 10th wedding anniversary in the last month. So me and my wife had a fantastic time going to Miller and Carter. Their steaks are amazing, by the way. So the old post office in York, they've just taken that over. Had a fantastic night out there. Red wine and steak. What more do you need in life?
It's been a tough month. I won't go too much into that. So it's not been great on the personal level, but me and Salah getting through everything. So that it's been difficult, but work-wise, we've been really busy, which is great. Leeds International is amazing to get back to that this year. We were just slammed, and everyone who came and drank at our bar or showed us some support there, thank you again. Amazing time at the festival. And then, I'm always cryptic on these to tell you about bar stuff because there's usually a lot I can't tell you about. One of the things I can tell you about is things are progressing on Ghoul, but it's going to be a long time until that place is open, and that's unfortunately more to do with the construction phase of the project, which is out of our hands. But I'd very much like to hope that if we're not in there this time next year, I'll be gobsmacked, which is a long time away.
Well, that's a big timetable.
But yeah, there's some really exciting things going on in that project. It's just going to take a while. And then, we moved out of our venue in Leeds, New Briggate. Our last trading day was last Saturday. So we are looking to finalise the move to another venue soon. We can't go much beyond that because unfortunately you can't get anywhere with legals, but there's a few as always, there's a few things we're working on. As soon as we can tell you, we will. But in the meantime, keep supporting all the venues we've got because
and thank you to everybody who has over the years supported that venue in Leeds. We had an offer. We decided it was time to exit. Like Wayne says, there's a few irons in the fire. We're hoping we'll be able to do something bigger and better, but time will tell on that one.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many different opportunities coming up. Kind of feel like we should wait though until to see what happens at the budget to see if people are still going to be coming out spending money in a few months' time. So it's all little things like that we have to consider. But
anyway, let's not talk about that. We're supposed to be providing a little hint of joy at the end of the week. Let's not talk about cost of living crisis and budgets and so forth.
What's the...
Well, I think we need to go into questions. And given you were just talking about Leeds, I think there was one about the slushy machine in there, which is probably a good one to pick up.
In the meantime,
Emma Thomas on there. So Emma Thomas, the slushy machines at Leeds Festival was great. Will there be more beers in slush form at the tap room? So slushy machine is exactly what it sounds like, something that kind of creates ice within stuff. And we opted to put a mango sour in one. We did Kirsch Russell, which is the third beer we're going to be trying tonight. And did you also do the White Russian with the Imperial Tonkoko?
You all drank all of the mango by the middle of the Saturday session. So it was just super popular, which we're a little bit good about. We would have sent more mango if we'd have known, but it sold really, really well. So we had to come up with a on-the-spot idea, which we obviously do Tonkoko White Russian all the time, which is great. So that was in. It was great. It was tasting really, really good. Imperial Tonkoko was back, which was the base beer. Tonkoko rum we had with us, a bit of milk, a bit of sugar syrup. It was on point. It was one of those ones where when you're too impatient, you pour in like this cold, milky drink instead of waiting for it to freeze. But yeah, it was really good. So yeah,
but by taking some liquid out, you're actually helping the rest of it to freeze.
Yeah,
quicker.
exactly. Make it. Well, no, it's probably not going to make it more alcoholic. So yeah, the soft serve made a reappearance. We've got a few ideas. Whenever we put it on in the tap room, unfortunately, the difference between the tap room and the the tap room and a beer festival is that beer festival, you've got people who would really want to try something really different. They want to go out there, try things that they aren't getting from all the other bars, which is why the soft serve always works really well. When we put it on in the tap room or the beer hall, there's only maybe 1 in 20, 1 in 30 customers who are interested in it. So it doesn't really sell as well. So although we do keep trying it and putting it on every now and then.
I think we should try it. It is a weird one because where else in York are you going to get a beer slushy? I mean, come on.
And it's getting it's getting quite warm now. Sorry? So we should get the
looking gas. They instantly corrected. Apparently there are alternatives. All right. Well, there aren't many places doing it, that's for sure.
What we need to do is get some cask beer in there, do some cask beer slushies for the beer festival next week.
That's sacrilege.
So there's not really a question, but a post. So it was yours and Polly's anniversary. It was also Pete and Kerry's 30th anniversary. So they went to the Mitre and stayed. So Greg and the team sorted some beers and flowers for them.
Yeah, congratulations, Pete and Kerry. 30 years, wow.
No.
I'd be happy if I'm still alive by the time I
And I think this is more of a question or a statement from Alan. Brew York London.
Brew York London bar coming soon.
Should be Brew York London Milan.
That's quite good. No, we are not looking at venues in London. We can tell you that much.
Do we have any questions of the audience yet? We do.
How consistent is a hop for giving you the characteristics you're looking for? I mean, does it change year on year?
That's an excellent question. So the question from the audience is, how consistent is a hop? Does it change from year to year? So absolutely, it's a biological agricultural product. So depending on how much rain and light intensity and whatever they got that year, that's going to change from year to year. So what the hop breeders do is, for the most part, we work with pelletized hops. And to create pelletized hops, they'll take some from that field and that field and that field, and they'll blend it until they create what they consider to be typical for that hop. So that's how they're creating a consistent-ish flavour. It's never going to be perfect, but they have their parameters, and they get back to those parameters by doing that blending. If you were taking one crop and only using the flower or the leaf, as it gets known, it would be very hard to be consistent year to year.
I've just realised we're not drinking the West Coast yet. I keep going straight to my my company and pint, and I'm drinking away. Thinking,
you're going to have some of that in a second.
Yeah, I was going to say, should stop drinking that and start drinking the hazy East Coast.
Any other questions? None in the room. Any more online?
More comments than questions so far. And there's actually a reference that we might want to expand upon, maybe. Like the soft serve machine.
Okay, I think we could definitely do that.
It'd be good to have especially yeah.
So yeah, Emma has had a follow-up question. Maybe we should have the slushy machine operating for the January subscribers party. So absolutely, yes, let's do that.
And given it's usually the launch of Empress, we could maybe do a White Russian on the soft serve.
White Russian, where your base beer starts at 11%, and then you add spirits to it. Yeah, why not? Why not? Yeah. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Nothing. Yes. That's what I will be telling my wife. That's for sure. Right. I think we're supposed to move on to the second beer, and I'm slacking a bit here.
So am I. But I'm also really enjoying the second beer already before we've got onto it. So that's probably why.
Good.
I might stick to my draft version because this is going to be a little bit warmer because we didn't have the ice bucket.
Yeah, maybe I'll drink my draft version, and then I could always top it up with that.
I could sneakily hint to Sal to go see if she'd get us another draft version.
No, we'll go. Right. So next up, as we hinted at the start, we have one of mine and Wayne's all-time favourite styles of beer. I think arguably what got us both into craft beer, really, wasn't it?
100%. One of the things I didn't mention about Leeds, well, not much I mentioned about Leeds, other than we went to the festival. Sierra Nevada had a bar there, which was great. And Sierra Nevada, one of the big inspirations of what we to start us brewing in the first place with their pale ale. They had the pale ale on, they had torpedo on, and then they had about a handful of taproom specials that were only usually served in Chico in California. So they'd flown them across. The taproom specials were like 13%. So I was sticking to the original pales, but it was nice to try something that we don't get to try in the UK much. But yeah, the torpedo.
I only went to Leeds on the Thursday night, and I came away thinking, God, they've really scaled that event back.
you just only went to
I think I just didn't find certain part of it, because I didn't find Sierra Nevada, I didn't find Siren, so I think there's a whole section of that festival that somehow I did not manage to.
Yeah, they were on the corner from us. They literally the opposite, up behind us if you walk beyond the bar.
Well, I was kind of only chatting to people I knew as such because they were giving me free beer. I didn't know this yet.
To be fair, me and Lee weren't working; we were just drinking. So when you said us, we were just wandering around. So.
It's one of my favourite ones of the year because I think the atmosphere is great there. I think it's one of the most laid back, most relaxed. People go and pint stuff there. They're not all about having thimblefuls of the latest hype craze. The proper drinkers just out for having a good laugh. So I really love that festival, and there's always a good representation of the breweries that we consider to be our best friends. So yeah, you and I think just bar hopped all night, chatting to lots of people we've got to know over the years.
One of the things we tend to do is, which is unlike us, try to be sensible. And when we go to talk to our friends who have bars there, we're like, can we try a beer? But can you make it low ABV? Because we don't want to be. If we drink all your best or your strongest stuff, it won't be a very long night. So we get to try some really, really cool beers. And the guys at Lakes were around the corner from us, so they had some really good beers on the.
In fact, they had a New Zealand hop one on, which was beautiful. What was it?
Was it the West Coast?
Yeah, it was made with a new New Zealand hop called Peacherine.
Yeah.
Can you guess what flavour it was like?
that was the pale, yeah.
So there's this new peachy New Zealand hop that we need to get our hands on.
But one of the things that was really pleasing from my perspective was on the Saturday, me and Sal went down and had a few drinks on that day, and Matt and Michelle from the Lakes were up, so they weren't up on the Thursday when we went to do our networking.
Yeah, I was chatting with Steve that night.
Yeah, Steve was in. So, but on the Saturday, Matt came across, and I was telling him how much I liked his New Zealand West Coast that he had on. He was a little bit shy about it because it was a little bit
hazy, hasn't it?
And we want our West Coast to be, like the originals used to be. But yeah, it was a little bit hazy, and it tasted great, but it was a little bit. I wish it was, clear. I said I'll try our West Coast, which is what we're drinking now, and he absolutely loved it. And he got all the guys from his bar to come and try it all, and that's what they started drinking from that point on. So, a good compliment to our brewers. A great job that they've done, because since we brought this out, this is my new seasonal favourite. It's what I'm drinking a lot of.
Yeah, I think I must have had about 4 pints of it just that night.
Hence the next day, yeah. So we've got a question in the audience. Before we'll tell you about the beer in a second, but we'll go to the question in the audience.
Just while you were on Leeds, any thoughts of the range of ginger beers that were?
Oh wow,
that's a very good question. I would actually say beyond our own beer, the best thing I tried there was from DMC, the ginger beer company from Leeds. They had a Carolina Reaper and pineapple ginger beer, and it was beautiful. Carolina Reaper is an intense chili. That would be really easy to get wrong. And I think he judged it just right with the level of heat, because, of course, ginger's bringing its own heat as well. So to get that balance, I was like, yeah, well done. We're actually going to collab with them. So before the end of the year, there'll be something Brew York ginger based coming out. And yeah, I would think that's likely, yes. Possibly hot, yes.
Hot and ginger, Sal.
Oh, Jesus, get me a bowl. Wow.
So tell us a bit about the West Coast.
The specifics of the beer.
Let's change the subject quickly.
What is my favourite normal beer?
At the Leeds Festival.
The festival.
What's your favourite normal beer as such?
Yeah, but this one we're drinking. No, beyond our beer, Jesus, I don't know, I had that many.
Put you on the spot now.
I think the Peacherine did really stand out, actually, from
Siren had their 11-finger discount on, which was really good, but it's quite strong.
And as we've established, I couldn't find them. That's just as well if that's what they were serving.
And then I'll tell you what, actually, which is unlike me. Verdant had a small presence there, and they had a collab with the American brewery that won't be able to, Green Cheeks, and it was for their birthday. It was an 8.5% dipper, and it was really, really good. I mean, obviously, Verdant dippers are always amazing, but I don't really drink them because I don't really want to drink 8.5% pale beer all the time.
And Sally knows what happens to you when you drink dippers.
Yeah. And that was back when it was 7.5% was the limit. But yeah, really, really good beer. But they had to take it off sale because they didn't have that much beer with them, and it was selling too quickly. So I managed to get a couple of halves of that. No, it wasn't pints while it was off sale because it was Jess in our sales team. It was her birthday, and that was the beer that she wanted to drink as well. So, can you get that beer off sale, and can we have a couple of halves of it?
Nice.
Yeah, it was really good.
Anyway, back on script. If we
Jaipur was on cask.
Yeah. See, when Alan asked the question, I was going to say Jaipur, but I was like, that's just too predictable, isn't it? Yeah.
They had their Union cask beer on as well. But we switched to Jaipur.
Yeah.
I think, nice.
Well, we've both been doing rounds in different directions, and we both ended up at the Thornbridge bar at the same time. And you'd arrived slightly before me, and you'd tried the Union, and then you were drinking the Jaipur. And then I rocked up, and then they got me to try the Union, and then I tried the Jaipur. And I said, yeah, well, it's not Jaipur, though, is it? And they said, that's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we had exactly the same thoughts. And it was a nice beer in its own right, but we just love Jaipur.
And it's like if and I guess we're arguably at risk of that here with this beer. If you really love Big Eagle, that might be your favourite West Coast that we do. So this might not quite stand up to Big Eagle for you or for other people's palates. Whereas I think arguably this is probably better than Big Eagle, which is a bold statement.
It is a bold statement, but it's also a statement I've made myself. And as the designer of both beers, yeah, I think that is true. So basically, in a world that is obsessed with hazy, juicy, East Coast style juice bombs, we've decided that irrespective of that, every now and again, we're going to drop in one of these West Coast bitter, bright, resinous beers because we love them.
The ABV really helps, and that's where in America they're not shy with the strength for craft beer anyway. And over here we're dictated by what the tax we have to pay and what we then have to pass on to you guys. So we're always a little bit selective. But the other thing that influences what ABV we use on beer is competition. So if we're entering a beer competition, and if the cutoff for that range of that style is 6.5% or 6.4%,
isn't it?
Then we'll try and brew a beer that's 6.4. Because if you do it any stronger than that, you're up against 8.5% beers with your 6.5% beer, which isn't really going to cut it. And Big Eagle used to be 6.5%, and then the Seba range for IPAs was 6.4. So we dropped it down that tiny little bit, and then do you remember that when we beat Jaipur in a competition?
we won best IPA in the country.
Yeah, so that's why Big Eagle got down to that tiny little 0.1 of ABV. Whereas when we're brewing a new West Coast, there's not the restriction in place because we're not thinking about a competition or anything like that. We're just thinking what would make that beer work well.
And I think if you are making this style to the best that it can be, you are looking sort of 7 to mid 7s really in terms of ABV. And if you went to the US, you wouldn't really find many below that. In fact, you'd struggle to find out what ABV it is because they really don't like to let you know for some reason. It's illegal to drink and drive, but they won't tell you how much alcohol's in anything, which is a very bizarre way for things to be. But that's how they do it.
Yeah, I think this style and the strength are working really well. The thing where we massively appreciate what Thornbridge do anyway and love Jaipur, but where I think we'd love to be able to do more of is cask West Coast. And cask West Coast just hasn't really sold that well for us in the past. We've always been a little bit wary about how much of beer of that strength we put out there. But I think with Tyler on board, surely we can sell a batch of 7% West Coast on cask.
If anyone can, Tyler can, and I'd love to do it. And I was only having this conversation yesterday, about what our original core range was. And we're kind of lucky to be here these days because we started out with a 5% New Zealand brown ale in cask and a 6.5% West Coast IPA on cask. And people don't generally drink either those styles or to that strength in cask.
That's probably why they're not in our core range now, but they do appear a lot. One of the ones actually where for me this leads to, which is one of the so if you don't know already, next week is York Canberra Beer Festival. It's at the
St Lawrence's Church on Lawrence Street.
On Lawrence Street. So me pointing over there means obviously everyone at home will know exactly what I'm talking about.
In that big direction.
But yeah, it's the big church next to the Rook and Gaskell.
Second biggest church in York, I believe.
It's a great location. So the festival starts on Wednesday. It's a trade day, and trade afternoon, and then it goes into the normal
session. Trade from 3, public from 5.
So great.
Trade from 1.
Yeah.
The ticket says from 3.
So great festival and lots of things going on.
I'm not coming at 1 o'clock. Jesus Christ, I'll be all right, mate.
One of the beers that are brewed especially for the festival this year is a tribute to Alan, one of the organisers. Melissa's in the audience now, his partner. Alan unfortunately passed early this year, and this beer was brewed as tribute to him by Tony at Half Moon and Melissa herself. And it's one of my favourite beers I used to drink way before we had the brewery, and it's Shankar, which was Great Heck. Great Heck used to brew a West Coast in cask called Shankar, and it was such a great beer, but it really got me drunk. So sorry, Sal, if I'm going to...
No, it was a big beer, and
I can't wait to bring it.
In Denzel fashion, that he would really load in the hops and then forget to charge the people for the hops. And that's regrettably why Denzel Great Heck's probably not here today, because he wasn't charging enough for his excellent beer.
And that was first time I drank that beer, absolutely amazing beer. And Alan was doing all the beer buying and delivering, not all the delivering for Great Heck back then. It was an amazing beer and an amazing tribute to Alan. So hopefully you all try it all and it sells out really well.
And I'm assuming you've taken more than one cask of that, because one cask.
Yeah,
right. One cask, right? Well, I think us on trade day are going to get some, and that'll be it, pretty much. I think.
Well, I suspect the rest of it's already been ordered around York.
Fair enough. Have we got one coming? If I'm going to
pull
in.
I'm
pulling a favour with Tony. Then we'll get one of them.
Some drops there. No.
If you're going Friday, you've no chance. You might get to look at the empty cask if you want. Anyway, we keep going off piece here. So this
let's talk about this beer. Let's tell you a little bit about the beer.
So it's a West Coast. We've established that. So West Coast, typically bright, typically bitter, made with classic hops. Tends to be what they call the C hops. So you're picking out of the likes of kind of Chinook, Cascade, Centennial, Columbus,
piney,
they're all kind of piney, resinous, yeah. And with this one, we've gone with Cascade, Centennial, Chinook, Equinox, because for all that we were saying earlier, it can do that tropical thing. It can also do that kind of grassy, green peppery thing. And then Simcoe, which is kind of dank, but also kind of piney as well. And I think, if I may blow our own trumpet, we've done a sterling job with this. And I do think it is better than Big Eagle, which has been my long-time favourite West Coast that we've done.
Yeah, and one of the, if we haven't already, I think we should get a case of this sent down to our West Coast chum in Reading. So Andy from Elusive, who's, if you haven't ever tried their beers, well, hopefully you have, because you tried his beers at our festival. But one of the best West Coast producers right now in the UK.
Although, to be fair, there is a thing in this that I've taken as a bit of a lesson from Andy. So Andy makes Oregon Trail, which I would argue is the best UK-produced West Coast, certainly given Jaipur a run for his money. And classically in this style, you would have a type of malt called crystal malt, which has been kilned to kind of caramelize it a little bit. So that contributes a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of colour into it. But then what Andy was doing, and I don't know whether this is he himself has come up with it or he's picked it up from one of his journeys to the US, he had used rye malt. And rye malt gives it that same level of colour, but then rye malt also acts like a bit of a seasoning. It's got kind of like a pepperiness to it. So it's like seasoning the beer alongside all of those other things. So I went with a bit of rye in this instead of the crystal you'd usually have in it to get that same colour, which is not as dark as the crystal we were using before, but it definitely has that classic West Coast colour to it.
One of the things, you've got a comment on the screen, but one of the things that Mr. Clark said at Leeds was how much he loved the colour of it. So maybe our next Lakes collab's got to be a West Coast, doesn't it? So, but no
Absolutely.
Tonka in it. West Coast, but no Tonka.
Oh, New Zealand hot West Coast, eh?
Yeah.
Too elusive, sometimes.
Oh, nice.
Ah, nice.
So
In cask.
Yeah, too elusive.
Wow. So your Canberra Beer Festival has 2 elusives in cask, and that man does not do a lot of cask. So yeah, that's quite exclusive. Exclusive elusive. There you go.
Yeah, there's quite a few questions and stuff I'll scroll back to in a second. Is there anything we haven't said about it? Is there anything we've said about what yeast do we use about this bit in this beer?
That'll just be US05, a classic California yeast that's neutral, which means it creates alcohol and not flavour. It's kind of high attenuating, which means it eats through most of the sugar and makes it kind of dry. But yeah, it doesn't really contribute flavour. It's just about alcohol contribution. And I suppose the only other bit we haven't discussed is the branding.
Oh God, yeah. So we've tried to scale back a little bit on the puns this year and try to do a little bit of a balance of
and the blatant plagiarism of other people's IP.
The names of the beers or the style of the beer, and then every now and then we'll chuck a pun in. But yeah, when we go on West Coast, there's all sorts of things we could have gone down, but we love the Beverly Hills Hop idea, and the branding's really cool again from Owen upstairs at United by Design. And the timing, maybe we were a little bit late when Beverly Hills Hop TV series came out. I think that was maybe a month or so ago.
Has Eddie Murphy tried it? Highly unlikely.
I thought you said, is Eddie Murphy driving?
No, he said, has Eddie Murphy tried it? We would love to get this into the hands of Eddie Murphy, but no, I think that would be a very hard thing to do. But what it does kind of coincide with, and I've not seen it yet, is there is the new Beverly Hills Axel F film that's out. Is it on Amazon or Netflix?
I said TV series. It's Netflix. I said
is it
TV
good?
series,
yeah. I was hoping someone would offer an opinion on that, so I could decide whether to watch it.
He's like Beetlejuice. Michael Keaton just doesn't age. He's 38 years. He looks the same. Maybe the
Have you seen that now?
Beetlejuice, yeah. Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Is it good?
Yeah,
I've heard good things.
Yeah. If you love the original, you'll absolutely love the sequel. It's really cool.
Well, me and Polly watched the original in the week, so we're lined up ready to go to the cinema. So I'm hoping maybe Saturday night we can go and see that one.
It's really good. Very nostalgic.
Very nostalgic.
Yeah, I felt nostalgic.
Yeah, I've heard. In fact, the way I heard it described was it does what Ghostbusters, the reincarnation ones, had wished it had been able to achieve, to kind of capture that old nostalgia. Because those new Ghostbuster films are crap, aren't they?
Well, the ones with the kids in were actually, I don't know the second one of the kids in, but the one was pretty entertaining because it had a bit of a nod to the original cast and stuff.
The Beverly Hills Cop one was a throwback to the 80s.
Oh, is it?
Right. It is a throwback to the 80s, reliably informed by Alan of Pocklington. Put that on the poster.
So you've got a commitment from.
Let's do it. Nice. Happening. Next year, let's do a home and away again because I want to come to the Lakes again.
Yeah. Well, Matt, I'm not going to say if there's anything, obviously, because I can't. But hopefully, you'll have some news at some point, and we can come do something fun with you. That's really, as usual for me,
That's
very
cryptic.
elusive and cryptic. But yeah, hopefully Matt will have some news to share at some point soon. And it's not moving into the Hawkshead's original brewery. Who, if you haven't already seen that as well, Hawkshead Brewery got bought by. Remind me the name. Halewood, yeah.
Who are known as the Lambrini
or
or Krabbies or Dead Man's Finger.
made everyone redundant. Well, made most of the team redundant. Then drained the rest of the life out with that brewery, and now they're closing it down and making all the rest of the team redundant.
They're closing it down because they're claiming that the car park charges are getting too high.
That's
What?
ridiculous.
Anyway,
So yeah, on that, yeah, we basically.
let's just say in the Lakes there is little love for those guys. And Matt, Michelle, Steve, the team have done an incredible job at putting it to them over the years. And I would think with what they've just done, it will become even easier for them to steal their business. And yeah, credit to you, Matt. Yeah, they need it put into them, to be fair.
So we've covered every topic then on Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I think we, kind of eventually
So
did everything else and then eventually got to that. Right, so now we've got a kind of a weird subject to talk about, which is me really wanting your opinion. So those of you in the room, those of you online, and it's about kind of social media and beer social media in particular. So when we kind of created the brewery all those years ago, I used to love seeing what was going on social media around beer, in particular on Twitter. I love to see the interactions between people who love beer and talked about beer. But what I've seen of late is, and I'm not going to call it what Mr. Musk would like me to call it, Twitter has become a cesspit of hate, where I cannot see the things that I would like to see. I seem to have somebody else's opinion or agenda forced upon me. So I'm about to come off Twitter because I do not want to be witness to that anymore. So I just wondered if anybody else has had kind of similar experiences. And given I can't get the beer content I want out of Twitter anymore, is anybody aware of any other alternative to go out there and get your latest kind of beer news? So yeah, not the most jollier subjects, I'm afraid. But where are you getting your beer news these days?
Brew York Beer Club.
Brew York Beer Club. Nice. Well,
I tried Blue Sky, but there aren't enough people on it.
So Blue Sky is one of the kind of alternatives.
What was the one that
Threads is the one that Facebook have done. But again, it's not got that kind of traction. It's not got that scale, has it?
Untapped.
What's the other one? Like Mastodon is the other one.
Well, the little pubs in Yorkshire.
Oh yeah.
Quite a nice forum in its own way.
Not if you own a pub in Yorkshire. It's not. It's Real Ale Pubs in Yorkshire. It's a group on Facebook, and well, like most things, well, social media. It's if you've got a keyboard, you're more than entitled to tell people what you think about places. But unfortunately, it's sometimes hard as the end operator of these businesses to listen to that, because there's often some very harsh, unfair comments that go on them, and you don't want to go on the defensive when you read them, but at the same time it can ruin your day when you read them. And you're like, that's just not true, but I don't want to get involved in it and start replying to it, but then it'll grate on you and annoy you for the next.
I mean, I'd love for there to be a kind of basic mandate, basic rule, and you'd never be able to enforce this.
You can only tell the truth.
No, you should not be able to put anything online that you would not be willing to say to that individual or that manufacturer face to face. You should not be able to hide behind that keyboard. And there's too many people saying really venomous, offensive things because they think they're going to go unchallenged. It's too easy. You get complete anonymity to it, yeah. All right, PS Prog, quit most social media years ago. Only thing I do use is Untapped. For PS Prog, reply again. Is that for similar reasons? I'm assuming that's going to be the case.
There was one that I tried to. There's a lot of interaction on this because it is an interesting topic, and it's not something we'd normally cover. But for me, Facebook, if I'm commenting as the business owner, looking at how you guys interact, Facebook's great because we get a lot of interaction and a lot of comments and feedback. So whatever we post out there, whether it's our main Brew York account or one of our venues, we get a lot of interaction, a lot of comments, a lot of feedback. If it's Instagram, we get a lot of likes, but not much direct feedback. And if it's Twitter, it's really not very, or X, it's not really interacted with at all. So that's the platform that really doesn't get much at all. We don't get much back. We get tagged stuff like the Cami beer we've done and the Morrison's interaction. We're getting a lot of tags in stuff now from that, but that's only because Cami's got like 1.8 million Twitter followers, whereas you know, when we put normal content out on there, we don't really get that much interaction. Facebook's always been great for us, but as a person who doesn't use Facebook normally, I have to have my own Facebook account to be able to look at our business Facebook account, which is frustrating because I don't really want a Facebook account, but you have to. They tie you in those ways, and then I'm scrolling on my browser on my phone, looking at I don't know. You got that pizza oven recently, and then all of a sudden you go on Facebook and everything's related to a pizza oven. You're like, how does that happen? It's like surely I've got to change some privacy settings somewhere where if I go on my browser, you can't then target advert me on Facebook. So
yeah, but it does stupid things like I was looking for a dehumidifier, so I bought one. When in life am I going to need more than one dehumidifier? Now I've bought one. Why are you still trying to sell me one? But yeah, anyway.
It's like trying to sell more beer, isn't it, that way?
well,
beer
the
makes
banners.
sense.
We try and sell beer that way. We get banned and stuff.
Yeah.
So whoever's got me on the sweepstakes, finally, it's been a while, but Lee's won today.
But I think repeated advertising of beer makes sense because you are going to have that next beer. Even when you wake up with the hangover from hell, all you're going to do is not drink for 2 days. And then after that, you're going to be back on the beer. It's one of the things that has the most incredibly selective memories. If there was anything like if you fell off your bike and broke your knee, you'd probably think twice about riding your bike again, wouldn't you? But doesn't matter how much punishment beer deals out to you, you're still going back for more.
Yeah. And we're all going to get pizza oven adverts now.
And you all get and I must endorse the Ninja one. I'm not paid to do this, but I got the Ninja one, which is a high temperature one that you just sit out in your garden, and it can do pizzas in 2.5 minutes. And it only does about 400 degrees C. I know pizzas are supposed to be like 400, 500, 600, whatever they are. But anyway, I'm filling the time somehow, aren't I? So.
Scenario doesn't quite work out because if you fell off your bicycle after about 6 pounds, you would still get up when you recovered and go back for another 6 pounds.
If you fell off your bike after 6 pints, you'd still,
You go back drinking and probably ride the bike.
Actually, that does remind me of a little story. So I don't often hang back on a Friday and have beers with the team, but a few weeks ago I did. Well, a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago now.
A couple of months, yeah.
Yeah, and I had my head brewer, our head brewer, Johnny, and one of our brewers, Jack, drinking with me. And for every pint they were having, I was buying them a half of Dipper. So we ended up, well, I was reasonably drunk. They were on their way, shall we say. And they both cycled home. And then they both appeared in work on Monday, one with a broken arm and one with a grazed face.
Must say there's a cycle track from our brewery back to the town where so they're not in public harm. Well, they are in public harm, but yeah.
It goes to my house when it's open.
Yeah, let's just say internally I might have got a little bit in trouble for my encouragement of their drinking.
And also
I didn't tell them to cycle though. I must say I didn't encourage that.
And I didn't miss this when I got up to go to the toilet. Then Lee said something about me and hungover and not drinking for 2 days. It's getting old. It used to be like about 2 hours, but now it's like go down to 1 day. You have a hangover. I can't drink again. And the next day it's like, yeah, I fancy a bit. Now it's God no.
No, I very much describe myself as a Chesney Hawkes these days, a one-hit wonder. I will be there as what I mean by that is for that one night I will be there to the very end. I'll be there with whoever's drinking till the end, but don't expect me to be around the following day. I will have killed myself at that point.
So there's some more left. I was going to say
I'm going to have.
He's going to have to go to have his toilet right now. So did Lee answer any questions while I was gone, or have we got any questions in the audience, or shall I go straight to the screen? So it's usually Lee does all the spoilers while I'm at the toilet, doesn't he? So we've got a question in the audience.
No, you've got a spoiler.
How have I got a spoiler? No, not that I'm allowed to say anyway. So there's something about pizza. Oh, sorry, yeah. There's something about pizza, and I was just trying to find that question. I'm not sure what the question was.
to the pizza oven reference.
This is a good one from Alan, who said we need more people giving good reviews when they've enjoyed a visit. So we're all guilty of this. If you had a bad experience, you're more likely to share that bad experience and tell people about it. But if you have a good experience, you just enjoy the moment, don't you? You have a great time. You usually give that feedback directly to the people around you, the bar team or whoever's, or the restaurant team or whoever's there. But you shouldn't need to then go and put that online. But sometimes it's nice to do that because then it counteracts the negativity that you get from people. And I think one of the things I really like about Google versus TripAdvisor. So Google, you can just give a 5-star review. You don't have to then put a comment and explain why it was 5-star. You can go on and do really quickly. If you had a great time, you can give some great feedback. But with TripAdvisor, you've got to then go through, it takes you 10 minutes to do it. And you're like, oh, I've had a great time. I'm having a great time. If I go on this and give up 10 minutes, and then the next day you're like, oh, well, don't really want to go back and do that now. And it's, you live in your life as it is. You don't want to go back and do that in the moment. Sal's asking me for more. That is a spoiler, so no. we'll maybe tell the audience about that afterwards. So the person.
I think I've just met somebody who's going to have one of those 2-day hangovers.
Oh.
He was trying to get into the kitchen staff room.
Oh, I thought that was the security guy doing his rounds again.
He was trying to get in there, and then he tried to come in here, and he's like, "Well, where am I supposed to? Where have I just come from?"
He couldn't make his way back to the beer hall.
Possibly where all the noise is coming from.
So I joked about the spoilers while you're away, and then avoided spoilers. We were talking about other things, about positive feedback and how rare that because people live in the moment, they don't always give it. And then Sal said, "Am I allowed to say about?" And I can't say it because and I was like, I was about so yeah. I said we might tell the in-person audience about it in a bit.
I'm as lost as everybody else at this point. I think so. I'll be intrigued.
Could you have told us about?
I'll be intrigued to find out the answer to that one.
But yeah, I guess where we're leading to what bits I could probably tell you without giving too much away is that once we do sell leads, and which we're almost through that process, there's a move to another venue in Leeds that we're trying to sort out. We're always looking for more venues, which we'll keep pushing with, but there's more we're trying to do here, which I can't tell you too much about. And here meaning York. So and I'll leave it at that. I won't tell you too much of that. There's more we'd like to do in York. Cryptic, as always.
Again, I'm also going to need that explaining to me at the end of this. But I think it's fair to say that all venues need a refresh cycle, and you can't rest on your laurels, and you've got to reinvest every once in a while. And if we are getting some of that money coming in, maybe at least some of that's going to go towards polishing some of what we already have. Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, I was referring more to more venues in York, but if you want to talk, no, I'm joking. I was joking about that.
I mean, I'd love another venue in York, but you're clearly involved in discussions I'm not aware of. if there's something else going on. But anyway, so what's this space on that one?
So too much West Coast. So let's move on to something, a palate cleanser maybe.
Oh yes, nice.
Shall I bring the half glasses back out?
Hello. You can almost do a pint though, can't you? Oh, you're talking about this one.
So the next beer is a
that feels very full.
Is the return of a concept that we've scaled down to make it a little bit more accessible this year. So the beer is Big Trouble in Little Kirsch. The theme, the series is the Kirsch Russell series. So we had the original a while back, Kirsch Russell. We've then brought out Kirsch Russell Escape from Brew York, and then now it's Big Trouble in Little Kirsch. So they're not necessarily all from the same film. We know that, but we did the cherry pie sour.
There you go.
How many years ago now? A few years back now.
3, 4.
It was 7.5%. Because we probably pushed it to the limit of our duty.
6.5, the first one.
Well, not quite. We didn't quite push it to the limit then, but 6.5%. And cherry was very expensive back then. It still is now. And what we thought we'd do this year is try something a little bit different and try and bring the ABV down a little bit to benefit from the slightly lower duty to make the beer a little bit more affordable. And then the cherry prices went through the roof again, which counteracted a little bit of the saving we got from the duty. But
we'd kind of committed to the journey, as in we started making the beer by the time we realised that the cherry prices had doubled. So like, oh dear.
But the thing about the slightly lower ABV version that we've got now is that it's still just as easy drinking as it always was. You just won't necessarily be as drunk or hungover the next day. So that kind of works. So that we've got that going for us. But the beer's taste, in my opinion, is tasting great. It's kind of all the great things about the original Kirsch Russell, just a slightly lower strength. And the original Kirsch Russell drank like it was 4 and a bit percent. You couldn't really tell. So to bring the ABV down a little bit helps, because
I think the only noticeable difference for me is it does feel a little bit thinner. But I think the flavour is pretty much as you would remember it.
Well, you haven't had it on the soft serve. Thick as anything when you put it on that.
You're right, I haven't. I think that happened after Thursday.
And I didn't actually either. I didn't get to try that on the soft serve. Easy for me to say.
But this has half a ton of concentrate in, and a typical concentrate is 4 to 1. So if it's like 500 kilos of cherry concentrate, that's equivalent to 200 kilos of, 2 ton rather, of cherry juice. And how many cherries do you think possibly went into the making of 2 tons of cherry juice? I haven't got a clue either, but it's got to be a lot. Yeah. So it's a serious amount of fruit that goes into this.
So Emma disagrees with me, by the way, about the, which is kind of true. You drink it a little bit quicker, maybe, because it's a little bit lower in ABV.
Well, I can't argue with that. Yeah, you might have a point there.
Pete joined us late for the stream and he's also on the alcohol-free tonight, so he's wondering why we're drinking from half pints.
We're not Pete. You're just watching from very far away.
I was going to say, big pint, small pint. We just got really big hands. It's actually a pint glass. We just got really big hands.
I'll tell you what happened, Pete, is myself and Wayne got here early, and we laid it all out for all of our guests that were going to be in the audience, and we sat down and got really proud of ourselves. And then just as we went live, we realised we didn't have any glassware. So that's kind of what happened there.
We're selfless tonight. We looked after the audience first and us second. That's why we've got a can each, and the audience have got half a can each.
Yeah, that's how generous we are. Yeah.
So, Big Trouble in Little Kirsch. It is my beer, so I should tell you a little bit more about it. And we will go to questions shortly. But yeah, Little Brother from the Kirsch Russell series. The beer itself, if you remember when we brought it out in, I do think it was mid-2020. Super cherry pie. There's a bit of cinnamon in there, lots and lots of cherry, but sour cherry as well as sweet cherry.
Bit of tonka.
Yeah, obviously it's tonka has a cherry-like flavour, so we have to use a bit of tonka in it. Takes a couple of days to make because it's a sour, so we use the Lallemand sour strain, which we've used for most of our sour beers. And the cherry brings a little bit more tartness than some of our sour beers we were at the moment. The pastry brings a bit of sweetness back to it, so we use a bit of lactose. That sweetness balances out the sourness to make it a little bit more easy drinking, but because the cherry then gets the tartness again, so you're constantly trying to balance it out between the sweetness and the sourness to make you want to drink more of it. But yeah, it's pretty much one of the firm favourites of all the sours we brew now. So Goose Willis, OG, bring it back, and we will do. Is one of the best sours.
I think you've named the 2 best we've ever done there.
And then this one is
so the original of this. This is awesome, this one, but I preferred the original because extra alcohol and extra viscosity. And Goose Willis, which was our gooseberry vanilla one, was also up there as well.
And this one's got a little bit of cinnamon in there, like a cherry pie, and then maltodextrin to have some candy floss-like taste.
Yeah, so the original concept behind the first beer came from, there's a beer in the US, a brewery in the US, imaginatively titled The Brewery. So it's spelled Bruery, if I've got that right. and they've got kind of a more classic brewery, and then they've got a more kind of sour brewery. And one of the things that they've done is a cherry pie sour, and it was one of the best beers I've ever had. So this beer came about because it was my attempt to recreate that. I think we got pretty close. In fact, in Wales, it might be better because they're not allowed to use Tonka in the US. Are they?
Well, one of the things that reminds me of this beer is when I went to the Royal Navy Volunteer. It's called Royal Navy Volunteer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Arms in Bristol, and we were doing an event. We weren't actually doing it there. We were doing it at one of the bars nearby, and we had the guys from Vocation there as well as another brewery I can't remember. And it was a freeway battle of the breweries, and each one we had a sour, a stout, and a pale. We all had to bring, and it was a freeway tie in the end because we won the sour round with this. We didn't win the stout round.
I think Vocation won that one.
We had barrel aged Empress Tonkoko, so I still dispute the result there. But the pale. Well, we had Big Eagle in the pale, and also, yeah, I'm not biased. I feel we won every round.
Depends on the audience on the day, though, doesn't it?
But also, the representative from Vocation was Mark Suffolk,
who we then employed to be our sales director.
So, yeah, that was when we launched Kirsch Russell, and that was a bit of a mind blow for everyone because people knew we did good sour beers, but they weren't quite ready for the Kirsch at the time, I don't think.
So this is the second beer just tonight that has had a kind of 1990s cult film kind of theme going to it. So a question to you in the room and to you in the audience, if we were to pay tribute to another sort of 80s, 90s cult film, what would it be and what would we make?
Is it in the cinema right now?
And is it in the cinema right now? Oh. Well, okay, we might have one of them on the way already.
Well, we might have 3 of them
for Halloween. We might be doing a bit of this already. So ignore the kind of horror Halloween type themed ones. Beyond that, which films would you do a tribute to?
Jaws, obviously.
Wayne's World.
Yes. How have we done a Wayne's World?
Wayne's World. Carry on. And we've also Dirty Harry, and there's a hop called Magnum.
Yeah.
So,
And I would have said Magnum 57.
yeah. There we go.
Blow your head clean off. That was his
Anyway.
Oh, it is one.
Bill and Ted's excellent, right? Oh, we've got one. Oh, this is good. I know which one you're about to put up. Robo Hop.
I know.
Yes.
This one. And if we do this one, Lee is definitely going full drag for the can artwork.
Rocky Hopper pictures.
In lingerie.
Do you know what? I actually did once go to an ABBA tribute thing, dressed as the blonde one out of ABBA.
Which one?
Whatever the blonde one's called. I don't know the names. Not Bjorn, the woman. The Breakfast Stout Club, yeah, that's good.
I want to do the remake to Roadhouse, and you can be Conor McGregor. Have you seen that?
I have seen it. I actually,
it's entertaining.
I know it's cheesy, but I think Conor McGregor's kind of good in that.
He's funny, isn't he?
Anyone seen the new Roadhouse film? Anyone seen the original Roadhouse film? No. Right. This conversation's going nowhere. We'll move on. Predator. Oh, that's good. Get into the hopper. Very good.
Did you say very good?
And I mean, Predator is top 3 films of all time for me. I've got a tattoo of a Predator on my calf. That's how much I like that film.
Yeah, I was going to make this. I won't make the joke.
Yeah, not that type of Predator, Wayne. But anyway, I know where you were going.
I've got a Jimmy Savile tattoo as well.
Oh, there we go. He's gone there. He's only going to go there.
Would you revisit the maple version of the Kirsch Russell?
Oh, so that was so would we revisit the maple version of Kirsch Russell? So that was Kirsch Russell Escape to LA. That was the maple edition. Yeah, it was good. So we did a few back then. We did Jackie Flan, and then we did Jackie Flan Maple Edition.
And Goose Lee.
Goose Lee.
Which was
the amped up version of Goose Lee.
Yeah, 7.5% version, I think, wasn't it?
So, yes, possibly. So that's what a lot of the Scandinavian breweries were doing at the time. So maple and high fruit content. So
it was very much an Omnipollo thing, wasn't it? Yeah. And then they'd have put a bit of bacon on top as well, though, wouldn't they?
Probably. And then some dollar bills. So,
never say never. We released that at the time, and I think, do we have it alongside the original, or was it just that on its own? Yeah, I thought it was at the same time. And I think that's a great beer, but alongside the original, for me, I still wanted the original.
So,
but yeah, I think it's definitely good enough on its own right to come back. We should do that.
Emma's commented about Siren doing the Romulus, and we need to do a Predator version. Then you go an Alien versus Predator battle of the breweries. So when we went down to Siren to do their coffee, their birthday, well, not birthday, their coffee festival, they were telling me a little bit about the Romulus spin off the beer they were doing for it. And I was just like, Lee's going to be so jealous of this. He's going to be so pissed off that we didn't get in here.
and roll on a couple of weeks. I saw it had come out, and I pinged Wayne and Yusuf, our sales director, think, look at this. Why the hell are we doing this?
It's a great beer. It's the film. If you haven't seen it, I loved it. You've seen it twice. I'm a big fan as well.
So Predator's top 3 for me. But my favourite film of all time is Aliens, the second in that sequence. And on my other calf, I have a tattoo of an alien. So,
Alf, alien life form. Jimmy Savile and Alf.
Oh, that would be awesome. oh, Jesus. I could see it. That's terrible.
Here's one for, because I can't remember, but what was the double shrimp lemon one?
Oh, yes. What was that called?
Would Life Give You Lemon? Was it? No.
No, the original one was Simon Le Bon, and that was Le Mon.
Oh, Le Mon, yeah. Sorry, that was an easy one. I was thinking of a different beer. Another suggestion for 90s.
Oh, that's good. Little Hop of Horrors.
Rick Moranis to help us out.
Feed me, Seymour.
Anyway.
That was a rich vein of suggestions there.
Well, that's why we use a lot of older films for inspiration, because they've got some great names that you can build off, but also you get that nostalgia, like the Beetlejuice film that's just come out. The original film at the time was great, and if you watch it back now, things feel a little bit funny about the film, but it's still, you get that nostalgia feeling. And if we can do beers that then build off that, and you guys get the that same feeling when you watch a film that you used to really love, then that's what we want to do. So one of the ones that I'm really excited about, but it's going to be 2 years, is a film called The Goonies. I don't know if you realize, but we've done a beer for it. We pre-made that beer.
Hey, you. That one.
But apparently it's not going to come out for another 1.5 years or 2 years. But
well, they're doing a follow-up.
They're doing I don't know what if it's a remaster, reboot, or a follow-up, whatever it is. But there's going to be a Goonies film in the next 18 months. So HYG's going to make a resurgence.
Wow, let's see if we can get. Nice. Michael Douglas reference, Romancing the Hop there, and Kathleen Turner. Yes. You all right? Yeah.
We've got to send these celebrities a pack of them, and just, if you're using the name, send them a beer, and they might even promote it.
Well, we'll get it to Graham Norton. We'll get the beers to Graham Norton and see if he'll put them on the show. We've got.
Do you know what, actually, speaking of which, it is Dame Judy's 90th birthday in December, and we might be doing something to honour that. Can you believe she's 90? Yeah, I know.
Dame Judy.
Yeah.
Dame Judy Quench 9.0.
Yeah. All right, well, that kind of gives it away, but there you go. There's your spoiler for the night.
I like this one.
The Hunt for Red Ale-tober.
It's stretching it a little bit, but you like your red IPAs, and
I mean, any excuse, I'll make a red IPA. Yeah.
I like batteries hop included. I like that one.
4 hops and a malt.
4 hops and a malt.
Lee seems to have a good knowledge of the romance films. How could you not? They were on TV like at least once a month when you were growing up.
You've got ale.
That's a good. You've got ale,
like male,
like Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, wasn't it?
Yeah. Wow. We're never right. We're gonna have to watch this again on Monday and like write all this down because we're gonna forget all this.
So, well, yeah, that's a good shout. We need to do a barrel aged Dame Judy, and then it can be 9.0%.
Oh, yeah. If only we'd thought that.
Spoilers.
Sally, so Harry from the Barney.
So,
Sriracha Ace Ventura.
yes, so actually,
Nice.
so no, this is literally what our ideas meetings used to be like.
Yeah.
We just bounce, but now everyone's so much younger than us that we've got our references, and we're like Home Alone, and everyone in the room is just like, what?
Oh no, we've had people who worked for us in the past. They're like, so what's Back to the Future then? I'm like, seriously? And we've had to explain what Home Alone was, what Back to the Future was. It's like, these are moments when you really start to feel old. But anyway, on that jolly note, I'm afraid I'm going to have to drag us down a bit because the next subject that we need to talk about is the future of YouTube and these sessions. So we've had a bit of a reflection, and we've decided in the future we're going to be taking these down to quarterly. So let me give you some context to that first.
From when?
Yeah. So first of all, from when this is going to be happening. So we're going to get to the end of the year. We're then going to do the subscriber party in January. But the subscriber party, which we will broadcast in January, will be the first of the quarterly editions. So we'll go kind of January, April, July, October, if that's how that works, if I've got that right. Yeah. And it's because as much fun as this has been, I think we've had an incredibly good run. It has been 50 episodes, if we may call it that. This was originally conceived as something to do kind of through lockdown to kind of still maintain that connection with people to whom we were providing product and hopefully a little bit of solitude. And it's at that point in time, or there or thereabouts, we were getting about 1,000 views a month. And it's gradually dwindled and dwindled and dwindled. And now we're around about the 200 mark a month. And when you consider that some people are dipping in and out, that's people like maybe watching the first hour, then coming back later and watching the next hour. So 200 views doesn't mean 200 people. That might be like 100 people. And then we've got to filter out the fact that it's Wayne watching himself on camera again. And maybe my wife, my mother, his mother, whoever watching, Sally watching. So once we filter out all of our friends, how many people are we actually getting this content out to? So our view is if we do it less often, but put more into it, then maybe it'll be more meaningful to you and to us. Not that this isn't meaningful. This is kind of emotional.
Yeah. We've done it for over 4 years now, and we've absolutely loved doing this. This is if we go back to when the reason we started this was because of lockdown and because of the situation that was forced upon us. And 4 years later, we still love doing it. We don't do this for no reason. We do it because we appreciate that people at home, people in the audience enjoy what we do. But we also want it to be really, really good. We want it to be the best of what we do. And we are really, really busy. I can't underestimate how busy we are in terms of what our day job is and what we do. So if we can spend all that energy doing one really, really good quarterly event for you guys, and then in between we can do something a little bit less intensive on our time, and we can still keep you informed about what's going on. We think it's going to be the best of both worlds. We're going to get the most out of us and the people that can join us on camera. You guys will get a really cool interactive session where I'm not trying to type while people are filming and stuff like that, because we'll have the wider team here to help us do it. And I think we'll all enjoy it a bit more because of that. And I think if we put the tickets out for people to join us in the audience as well, I think it'll be really well attended because we're not doing it as often. So all these different things will really help us make it a better production. But we'd love to keep doing it. But it's also like I say, it's really there's a lot going on for us as a business and as a brewery and as individuals that it's hard to keep doing this and sustain it when we don't have the engagement that we used to have. So yes, we will keep doing it, and we'll still keep engaging with everybody as much as we can. But we're just going to try and make it more of a something to look forward to. And I don't think, I think a lot of people who joined us on stream now do look forward to this, and I think a lot of people in the audience do look forward to this. But
yeah, and it's not happening immediately. This is until the end of the year. Then January we do the subscriber party, where no one will watch online because hopefully you're all going to be here with us anyway. And then, yeah, that's the point at which we go quarterly. And then we're going to conceive of something to kind of attempt to bridge that void. So if we're not here to tell you monthly about those beers, what can we do each month to tell you about those beers? So we'll try and do other video content. Might not always be me and Wayne. We'll spread it around the team. You'll get to meet other guys within the team, and they'll tell you about the beers that we've made.
We'd happily do it all the time, but I think it's more relevant if we involve the wider team because, we would happily do every single beer, and we'd happily be your point of contact with Brew York. But there's so many more people who work for us and who help us achieve what we do that I think it's important that you guys know as well. Because when you go to a festival, an event, or you come to our tap room, we aren't here very often because we're doing other things. So it's nice for you to know who the wider team are. But
yeah, and these days we're kind of elevated from the production so far. So we're telling you about the fruits of their labours, not our labours.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's going to be good if they're more involved with stuff.
And we've got a few questions in the audience already. We've got lots of questions online, which we'll come back to.
I'm sure we have.
So we're not ignoring.
Before we go into questions, I want to say one last thing. I want to thank everybody who has supported us up to this point on this journey. It's been hell of a ride. It ain't over yet. We're not stopping. We're just changing it.
Yeah,
right.
Thank you.
Right.
And we've said it before. It's emotional. It's sad because we've loved this, and as much as you guys at home have. Oh, okay.
No, it's emotional. Yeah.
Can I just say, from what you're saying, I totally agree and understand from a business point of view, but I don't feel out of touch because I constantly follow you. You're on Facebook, you're on Instagram. Your Instagram, to be fair, you don't get comments, but you put a lot of adverts out. Maybe be stuff that comes out. I see a lot, but I always get an email for new beers that launch. I'm not out of touch. I don't think it's going to make a difference. You going quarterly. I'm still getting information on what you're doing, what's new.
Okay, so yeah, I best just comment for the camera because they'll wonder what's going on at this point in time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had a comment off camera that apparently it's not going to make a difference as sudden off. That was what he said. I know. I'm joking. But no, your feeling was you are still getting Brew York content from elsewhere, so you'll still know what's going on even in the absence of this every month. That's great to hear. That means the rest of the machine's doing a good job. So, yeah.
Question about the subscriptions, really. Is there a plan to get more people subscribing to your boxes? Is there a plan to change those boxes? Also, it'd be nice to have like a breakout box as well. When you typically go on holiday for a couple of weeks of the year, you then got another box to come back to you, then trying to catch up with that box. Sometimes it's nice just this month I'd like to take a month off, not get the box.
Right. Okay. So I'll take your latter question first. Are you able to put your thing on hold while you go on holiday? Yes, you can absolutely do that already. Yeah, just contact us. I probably should.
You can log on online yourself. You can pause it yourself online. But yeah, don't let anyone know that.
But yeah, if you're away for a couple of months, pause it, but please come back.
But yeah, if you can work out, if you can't work out how to do it, email store@brewyork.co.uk, and Andy and the team will sort that out for you, and they'll help you with that. But yeah, we'd love to keep building the numbers up on our subscribers. Unfortunately, it's been going one way for a long time now, and I'm
not going to say what the numbers are, but I will tell you we're 40% of the peak.
Yeah, and
it has tailed off a lot.
And there's lots of options out there. I think a lot of people who subscribe to us also subscribe to a lot of the other options out there, and those options have variety and stuff that we can't match with. But there was a question earlier, which I really wanted to come back to. Our favourite it for later, which I'll come back to now when I put it on the screen. So Alan's asked, why were there so many previous month's beers in the box rather than 2 of each of the newer beers? I don't know the answer to why, because we're not picking the beer, but myself and Lee aren't picking the beers. We're choosing which of the main new releases come out. We're not choosing the other stuff that goes in there. But that type of feedback is great because we need to then let the guys know that sometimes 2 of the newer beer is better than a repeat of, even if it's an amazing beer from the previous
And
one.
we do see that with other subscription services. And again, not naming names, where
12 beers a month, 6 beers, 2 of each.
They double up on the new stuff. And if that's your preference, now's your opportunity to let us know. Would you rather have more of the new stuff? Right, well, in the room, it's a yes. Online, let us know.
So yeah, I mean, we can simplify what we do. There's all sorts of things, and I think, like usual, we need to get that feedback. So if you guys can drop us your feedback on that, what would you prefer? We're always looking to make sure that it's more appealing to everyone. If it's extra tiers, if it's simple tiers, whatever it is, we'll look at the different options, because there's a lot of breweries just don't even do subscription boxes anymore because it's people are going out drinking rather than actually drinking it at home. So we think it's a really valuable asset to have. We think you guys are one of our most valuable customers. So we want to engage with you. We want to listen to what you want and try and tailor it.
And I think the worst thing you can do as a business is to forget to disregard who got you where you are. And I've seen other people do that. I've seen other breweries do that. And we won't ever be one of them. I think that's, quite frankly, I'm going to drop the first F on, like, fucking disrespectful. So we know why we are where we are, and we will always respect that. But we feel now is the right time to make this change. Yeah.
I also think the more you expand, so your new venues now, I don't know how far your subscription goes countrywide, but I think the more you expand, that will have some effect on your subscription, because if you're having a venue somewhere where someone was a subscriber, now they can go to a venue that you have.
Drink it locally instead of.
So the suggestions where
I would imagine your subscription would reduce.
So we're kind of a victim of our own success. If we keep opening bars and creating spaces for people to go to, there's no need for them to buy our beer to drink at home. Well, yeah, well, we're winning either way. So if that's what happens, that's what happens. Melissa?
I would say that's a positive. We want to support pubs and venues and drinking beer out and about. We love drinking your beer at home, but coming to drink it in the venues is a great thing.
Absolutely. Totally endorse that. The comment was we should really be thinking about supporting venues, drinking in venues. So, yeah, if this does that, then fantastic. Yeah.
Probably to some extent, but York particularly, like holiday venues, and people come and enjoy a Brew York, maybe you should push the subscription boxes in the venues as well. Get a bit of advertising there, because when they go back, and they get the beer.
Well, I mean, going back to your question, which I don't think got addressed, which was, should we be doing more to push the subscription service? And then you're saying, why don't we advertise it in our venues? Yes, and yes. Why don't we? Why don't we?
Yeah, because I've never really seen it in any venue saying, have you tried one of our subscription boxes? And I think you pick up extra.
It's. I'm glad Wayne's walked back in the room at that point, because I think it'll be interesting for him to hear this as well. So we've been asked why we don't advertise our subscription service in our venues, and why, as a whole, we don't push our subscription service.
Good shout.
Kind of what I said. Yeah.
If anyone's watching from the marketing and wider team,
I think we need to remember this, and as a team, go back and rewatch this.
Oh, definitely. There is more. It's difficult sometimes because what we want to do as a business and is we want you to all enjoy our beer. We don't want to be hard sell. We don't want to keep pushing and pushing and pushing things. So we always try and be a little bit selective about what we try and push to people. And I think sometimes we get the balance right. Sometimes we get it completely wrong. And I think our subscription service was always a great way to sample our beers and get a variety and try something you might not have tried before. And I think especially if you are an explorer, which is the cheapest way to do that. You get to try all sorts of different variety, which you probably wouldn't even realize we do. We should.
I've always thought that's been one of the best things of a subscription service, and the daddy, the grandfather, the one that started us on subscription services was Beer 52.
Yeah.
And I was a member of that for a very long time. And one of the things I liked about it was they'd send me these beers that I would never consider buying myself. These styles of things were like, well, I don't think I like that. And then I'd drink it and go, all right, maybe I do. But I'd never gone out and bought that intentionally. So I think subscription services are great at kind of expanding your horizons in that way.
Sounds good. Are you doing the Christmas calendar again?
The Advent calendar. We kind of half had that conversation earlier this week as to whether we're going to do an Advent calendar or not.
We will do an Advent calendar. We just we haven't formalised the details of it, and part of that is we hadn't really formalised the Christmas beers yet, which we're pretty much there with now. And then it gets earlier and earlier each year, so we've seen a lot of breweries already advertising their Advent calendars. So we always feel like we're a bit behind. So we will do Advent calendar,
which is a ridiculous thing to say in September when we're talking about something that happens in December. But that's every year it gets that little bit earlier, doesn't it?
I've put a comment on screen because I think it's really a good idea, and we'll take this on board and we will make it a bigger thing. So will there be a quarterly option going along with the YouTube session? So for people who might not necessarily want to subscribe every month, if they're not going to drink along with this, we'll definitely have something for you, and it doesn't have to be a subscription per se. We always wanted a 4-pack that you could drink along with this session. What happens is, because we give you a lot of previews of beers that aren't actually available, we were never able to make that a real thing. So every now and then we'd be able to make the 4-pack available, but because a lot of the beers weren't launched for 2 to 3 weeks, we couldn't really do it as a mainstream thing. So we stopped doing that. But maybe if we go once we go down to quarterly tastings, even if the beers aren't out, we'll maybe do a extended tasting, so maybe 6 beers instead of 4. Sorry, Sal. And we'll make sure that everyone.
I'm glad you said that. Now I get away with that because it wasn't my suggestion.
And then maybe everyone who's a subscriber or a former subscriber will get access to that 6-pack in advance. If people, if there are exclusive, we'll find a way to make.
But Adam, I think it's a great suggestion, and I think if either we up the number or we make something a little bit more unique or special about that once a quarter.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get some more beer into our glasses, and let's do another subject. And there's more questions that I'm sure you guys have about this, so we'll definitely pick it back up again.
But if I could ask people to continue to get their feedback in about those changes, how you're feeling about that.
Alan's jumped ahead, cheeky.
Alan Humphreys. Oh, Alan, you're not supposed to be drinking that beer yet.
We haven't even told you we haven't even said what's next, and you're already drinking it. So next beer we did actually say, to be fair, right at the start, is Mookies and Cream,
which hopefully has warmed up nicely for you all by now.
I don't know which glass to use.
So I'm now triple packed, and I've not tried this beer yet. Although I am told by the people who visited Leeds International Beer Festival that this is rather nice.
I had on the Thursday session, there was wind blowing through the whole of the Abbey. It was so cold. And then we just put this beer on. I tasted a bit, and it was really nice, but it was ice cold. So I was just looking forward to trying someone that's a little bit warmer. So Lee's going to tell you about this beer, by the way.
Am I? That's interesting, because I was waiting for you to talk then. So this is Cookies and Cream version of Imperial Tonkoko. So Tonkoko is a series of beers we started back in September 2016. Tonkoko won Beer of the Festival at York Camera Beer Festival in September 2016. And as we say, it launched a series of beers at that point in time. Not long after, at Leeds International, which I think would have therefore been 2017, we launched an Imperial version of it, Imperial Tonkoko, and that was received rather well. So we then kind of decided at that point that we would then continue to release iterations of that beer at Leeds International each year. The latest of which is this particular variant. So it's the standard Imperial Tonkoko, which has your hand-toasted coconut, cacao nibs, vanilla, and tonka, which is the South American bean that tastes a bit almondy. And into that, we've adulterated it with a flavouring that is meant to make it taste like cookies and cream, or as my team keep telling me, it tastes like Oreos, which I think is essentially the same thing.
So one of the things I genuinely did not taste at Lee's because I was freezing, the beer was cold. I could not get the cookie, like the milky taste, but I'm definitely getting it now. It's
because of the temperature.
Yeah. I can really taste a creamy taste to this. Beyond the lactose, more like an ice cream taste.
And I would imagine, pleasingly for you, Melissa, it has kind of
low coconut.
It's suppressed some of the other flavours, like coconut, you would normally get. Yeah, that's a very smooth drink. It has to be said. That's very easy drinking. That's what we refer to as a dangerous beer.
Yeah, 7.5% ABV because based on the homage to the original Imperial Tonkoko. What we can do now is we can take our ABV on our stouts or anything up to 8.5% without paying the high tax, and so the beer won't go too much up in price. But it'll be rare now we go above 8.5% unless it's an old barrel aged beer or if it's something we know that has to be super strong and you guys be prepared to pay the money for that. But we've always toyed with Imperial Tonkoko and whether to take it up to 8.5. I don't think we need to. I think the balance on Imperial Tonkoko is perfect. And I think Mookies being a variant of it is working really well.
I think you and I have both said for so long that we've done all these different iterations of Tonkoko. And the one that we always thought was the most balanced was the Imperial one at 7.5. So we didn't feel we could touch that. We felt even though we were allowed to now get away with 8.5, it still had to stay at the 7.5.
The thing that I've got to admit we don't do enough of, which is our own fault because we should plan this better and get our sales team involved sooner, is this beer on cask would be amazing. So we need to pre-sell these type of beers on cask so that we can then tell the production team, we need X, Y, Z of it in cask. It's really difficult for the production team because if you're brewing a batch of beer specifically for cask, which is what we do, or specifically for keg or can, because it's the same type of beer, we have to be more prepared. We have to make sure we know what we're doing in advance. And if it's something like this, we'd have to split the batch and make sure we had tanks available, which we don't. We don't have enough smaller tanks available.
Well, I mean, I'll educate you a little further. So what we do with our keg beers is we do a thing called spunding, which means you essentially have a pressure relief valve, which you set the pressure at which you want the CO2 to vent from the fermenting beer. And if you set that above atmospheric, then what is going to happen is the CO2 is going to dissolve into the liquid and any excess beyond that is going to get vented off. So you are naturally carbonating your beer. So your keg beer, you are naturally carbonating it throughout the fermentation. And that's supposed to deliver what they call a softer kind of carbonation. It means that the kind of volatiles, the flavor aromatic compounds, they don't kind of flash off as much as they would do otherwise. So you retain more of the flavor in the beer. But because we do that, it means it's very hard to create a beer that's destined for both cask and keg, because our process, by capturing the CO2 within the beer, is leading it on the road to becoming a keg beer. So if we want a beer to become cask and keg, the only way we can do that is to disable that device that allows that natural carbonation to occur. And we then allow it to vent off all the CO2 and it becomes a flat beer. And then we package some of that as cask. And then after that, we inject CO2 into what remains to create the keg beer, which means in terms of cost and environmental impact, it's a lot more because we're having to use CO2 that got generated by other means rather than creating the CO2 that was generated by the fermentation to actually carbonate the beer. Yes.
My question is, what would happen then if you put that into a cask? Would it just explode?
If we put a spunded beer, it would depend on what level we'd allowed it to get carbonated to. For the most part, you're going to end up with a beer that is a level of carbonation beyond what you would consider desirable for cask beer serving.
So could you do 2 batches and do one intended for
Yeah.
the cask?
So the question off camera is, could you do 2 batches? And absolutely, that is the best way to achieve this. You do a beer that's intended for cask, you do a beer that's intended for keg. And if you're doing that, there's other subtle changes you might make. So at cask, it's about having a more kind of viscous body, and that kind of tight foam at the top of it is really important. So you might change the constitution of the grain that goes into the beer to make sure that you have that tight foamy head. Whereas with the keg thing, that can kind of come and go on the top of your glass and you're not so concerned about that. So you might actually design the beers slightly differently, for although the flavour profile is going to be slightly the same, if you're intending some of it for cask and some of it for keg.
Apologies, Alan's picked up on this. I wasn't playing battleships. I was just, given there was so many comments before about what we said we were going to do, I wanted to scroll through and star some of them. But yeah, I was just literally heading them.
Oh, just because you were
right. So yeah, apologies.
It's like was it the Avengers film? and they said that guy's playing, and we did that beer. What was it? Gallagher. That guy. Yeah, Iron Man said, "God, this is so geeky." Iron Man on the bridge of that flying thing that they have said that man's playing Gallagher, and Gallagher was the Space Invaders like game that we did the beer about.
He's talking about Noel, who was playing Liam's song "Ready for the Reunion."
Oh yeah, all right.
You'll know all about Oasis. Lee's got his Oasis tickets, by the way.
Oh, no.
Of course he doesn't. It's not his thing.
I mean, look at me. Really, am I going to an Oasis gig? The only reason I would have bought those tickets is so I could sell them at the 500% premium.
So just scanning through a few of the comments because I'll drop them in a bit once we're ready to go to Q&A. But yeah, this Mookies and Cream is actually really, really enjoyable. Not that I'm surprised because I love Imperial Tonkoko, but it's not like Imperial Tonkoko. It's very different to it. It's creamy and yeah, cookie. So yeah, I think the guys have broken enough cookies into that to make it.
I think it's lovely, but I will always be honest, and it's some of the other ingredients that we've put in there you can't taste. So does it make sense to have had them in there? If the cookies thing is
the coconut, well, we'll have to ask our mates Amundsen about that because the Dick beers they go over the top and you can't taste one thing. Oh, sorry, you can. They always taste amazing, but you never know which bit you're tasting, do you? So.
And what Wayne means by their Dick beers is Amundsen, who are from Norway, they do beers that they refer to as dessert in the can, which they abbreviate to Dick. And they take great delight in talking about their Dick beers.
Lee also loves ABBA, not Oasis.
Oh, that'll be Alan. I didn't even need to look on camera to see that. And that's a reference to, so Fine Ales have a beer festival once a year called Fine Fest. And they had a ABBA tribute act playing. And I may have had a couple of shandies at this point, and I might have been dancing to them. And Alan might have taken a video and put it on social media. But
yeah.
You know what? I'm not ashamed. I don't care.
The year after that was really good though, because they had the rock tribute, and it wasn't heavy metal like Lee loves. It was, but you loved it. It was the 80s and 90s metal or rock.
So lots of Queen and that kind of stuff.
It was just great. Like Will from he's not. What's the hop merchant?
Bathhouse. Yeah.
He was loving
Will Longmate.
Yeah, yeah. He could name them all straight away. So Alan's already told us. Gods of Rock, it was called. They were really good.
Yes, because we were all playing a game together, weren't we? Like a point each for whoever could identify the song and the artist first when it came on.
Oh, well, I wouldn't hide and seek anyway because no one found me. I was on my own for 12 hours. Winning.
What? Why am I laughing?
So anywho, Joanna's finally joined in. Where's she been? Joanna from Pockington. Joanna says hello, everyone.
I'm watching
during her interval. What's her interval? Where's she been? Oh, she's at the fair. She's at the fair and she's watching her interval.
I mean, how dull's the theatre if you're tuning into us at half time?
Well, I was wondering why you weren't tuned in for the whole thing. on mute. You could have watched. You could have watched it and read comments on mute. Come on.
You don't know what you just know she's at the theatre. We don't know what. Right. Joanna, if you are still watching, reply and tell us what you're watching. Oh, Alan, it was Peakenders, you monsters. Sorry, not Finals, Peakenders.
I wouldn't have said you.
I said Finals. I got confused. Oh, Finals. That was the what's Masayoki?
Oh yeah.
Anyone heard of Masayoki?
Yeah, Masayoki. It's like giant.
Basically,
karaoke.
The band has a video screen behind them, and it's a big karaoke thing, and the audience has to sing
really
the tune.
Because then they were doing the rock music there, the like Queen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was just mayhem.
Yeah, and I generally wouldn't go in for these kind of things, but when you're enough pints down, it kind of appeals.
So, Melissa, what rock karaoke have we got at York Beer Festival in the next week?
No, I'm afraid. No karaoke.
Well, Lee's, I think, volunteering to do some Slipknot karaoke if you've got anyone who's...
Well, yeah, if it gets to about 11 o'clock and you're struggling to clear the place, I'll jump on the mic.
That's after trade session.
Yeah, to get rid of them.
Yeah, well, I think if we're starting at 3 or potentially 1, like you're telling me, then I don't think I'll be there at 11.
Camera members, I think, are probably 3.
Ah, okay,
Trade is
right.
probably 1.
Right.
Definitely 1 for trade.
Whichever way, I'm not going to be there at 11 o'clock if I'm starting at either 1 or 3.
So a few bits to jump back on. One, Matt from Lake Sphinx. We need, if we're going down to quarterly YouTube, we need an OnlyFans instead.
I think that has another type of audience. So I'm told.
Adam's asked, is there any news on the dates for the subscriber party in January then? Because they need to sort childcare.
We've all honesty, not looked at that yet. With that noted, we will look at it soon.
Yeah, we'll get it communicated as soon as we can, very, very soon. Don't have to put this on screen or not, I'll just save it for you later. So we can see it before you guys can see it on the screen.
Kerry, Pete, you are welcome anytime. Of course you can.
So one from Matt Lakes. It was made to be part of our live sessions because if you remember when we first brewed the Twin collab, we did the Rodney Utonka and what's the one called?
Oh,
who remembers Rodney Utonka? Oh, it's a peach one.
It's a late one.
Yeah, we did the Twin Lakes collab.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, Matt, if he's still around, can tell us that one. I know what you mean, but I've had a couple of beers by now.
And
but no, do you know what?
Yeah.
If I could just say though, to have Matt watching what we're doing is an honour in itself because Matt, you know full well you were part of our inspiration when we joined this industry.
Exactly.
And it was Matt that we'd met at Leeds International that had conceived of Tonka, the 9.5% beer, and that's what gave us our love of Tonka, and arguably first got us recognised in this big old beer industry. And that was down to Matt and also partly Michelle, because I think it was Michelle's
idea to use.
It was Michelle who had introduced the ingredient Tonka to Matt.
Loads and loads of other comments about the beer that, like, what do you include in a box? So we'll come back to them. Alan's got a good one for a name for a 90s or is it? I think it's 90s inspired.
Oh, Tears for Beers, like Tears for Fears. Yeah, nice. Yeah, we didn't think about the musical aspect. We only did the films, didn't we? Yeah.
He also reckons that 8.5% is good heavy stout anyway.
Can't argue with that.
But he also says do specials at 13%.
There's quality specials in a bottle. We really should do a bottle. We haven't done.
Well, as long as Alan comes to bottle them for us, so that we don't have to put that pressure on the team.
Yeah, don't bottle it, Alan. Or do bottle it.
So basically, January is the last hurrah. So everybody get to York and get merry. Well, good shout, but it's not the last hurrah. It's going to be the last monthly hurrah.
It's not the last hurrah, but I think all the same we should go with your sentiment there and encourage as many people as possible to come and join us for that big celebration in January to celebrate what has been the last 50 consecutive months. By that point, 53, 54 consecutive months, whatever it would have been. So yeah, I'd love to see as many of you in person as possible at that point in time. And going back to previous comment, we will get the dates out as soon as we can. Because yes, we've not considered that yet.
Certainly will. So any questions in the audience? Usually do.
Monthly parties after that, then?
Monthly parties. Well, yeah, but there might be like, well, if you guys organise a party in POC and you say, "I'll come down on a Tuesday night," we'll be there.
Mr. Commercial.
Tuesday, obviously. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about collabs and no guests tonight. And that. I would love to see you do a collaboration with Daya.
You'd love to see us do a collaboration with Daya.
That'll be the day.
That'll be the Daya. Oh my God! There we go. We have a name.
Already got the name for it. So yeah.
Do you know what? We would work with them if the opportunity arose. We even had a guy that used to work for us that went to do sales for them, and that didn't materialize into an opportunity. But and anyone who's kind of been iconic in the development of the UK scene, of course, we would want to work with them. We've just not had the opportunity to yet.
Have you got anything lined up?
Go on,
Lots lined up. Like next week, I'm going to brew with Kellam Island, not Kellam Island, Kellam Brewery. Kellam Island's
Kellam Island Brewery.
I've got that right. Sorry.
So
on Tuesday,
Thornbridge bought the
Wednesday. We're brewing with Tooth and Claw, who are from Hartlepool. They're kind of an offshoot of Cameron's. We've got a Finnish brewery coming to brew with us soon.
Yeah, for the Another Monk. Is that been finalised or not?
I don't think we're allowed to talk about that one.
So yeah, Dark and Wild City.
Ignore what he said there.
Yeah, ignore what I said. But yeah, Dark and Wild City. We're pouring out this year, which is going to be pretty cool. So the Finnish brewery across for part of that, and then a few other things. Hopefully,
we're brewing with one of our suppliers to create a sour IPA to sell at Dark and Wild.
How does Emma already know the name of the brewery? Did you tell her at Leeds?
I have absolutely no idea. Is the Finnish brewery called Coolhead? Yes, it is. I mean, if it's out there, we might as well acknowledge it. I have no idea how she knows that. It wasn't through me. What was the Pete?
About being embalmed in Tonka.
First time I tasted Tonkoko was your Doc's Tap takeover, and said that when I die, I want to be embalmed in Tonkoko, and I'm sticking by that. So that's the great guys at Doc's over in Grimsby. We're not seeing them in a bit, have we? No.
So apparently it was just guess. Well, I'm guessing you've already looked at the brewery list that's pouring at
Dark and Wild.
There's one Finnish
So
brewery.
yeah, there's a Finnish brewery that's coming to Dark and Wild. Yeah, they're going to be coming to brew with us the day before. Who had the hand up first? Be honest.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have some higher strength stouts that don't contain lactose.
It'd be nice to have higher strength stouts that don't contain lactose. Right, so first of all, us doing higher strength stouts, you'll notice that we don't do so much of that anymore. And that's because of the change in the tax laws. So basically, there is no relief for any small brewery now. So we always pay the same amount of tax as the big guys, which I think when we crunched the maths when that came around, was equivalent to adding about £2 on a can overnight. And we found that lots of people want us to make these things, but then when they say the price of them when we release them, it turns out they don't want them so much. So they tend to hang around a bit. But it is a fair challenge. They don't always have to have lactose. We should be doing more that is more inclusive. But if we're only doing 1-2 of these things that qualify as high ABV a year, it might be a while before you see one.
Alan said, gents, do you fancy doing an advent calendar for December? That'd be amazing.
So
me and Lee, we're going to do this. What we're going to do this year is do an actual calendar. So we're going to pose in the mash tun, and we're going to. Oh, sorry, you mean like
That's exactly what I was saying.
A beer advent calendar. Oh, sorry, yes.
So yeah, we in York we have Now, in York, we have a very famous pub just up the road from us called the Bluebell, and the landlord is a very good friend of ours called John. And every Yorkshire Day, so what's that, 1st of August?
Yeah.
He takes a compromising photo, should we call it that?
His wife takes the
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he is in the compromising photo, and it's him positioned with the Yorkshire flag with the white rose, and then he uses this as a postcard, and he sends people like myself a little receipt that says, there's a pint for your birthday. And I once got this thing from the post office or postal service where I said, sorry, we've opened your mail. Because obviously they scan it and they've seen this like near pornographic image of this landlord doing this Yorkshire post. Yeah, so they had to apologise for having opened my mail, realised it was okay, and then they forwarded it.
But we are doing an advent calendar rather than a calendar, boys calendar, with beer in it instead of pictures of Lee in compromising positions. But if you want beer, you want those.
Next question. I think we need to move on from that.
My question was, with the YouTubes going less frequent, there might be other things that could be done for subscribers to give them something special. For example, an opportunity for a lottery to go and brew with you for a day or something like that you can do. So there's some extra things that people can get.
That's a lovely suggestion. Melissa suggested that if we're going to quarterly, there might be other things that we could introduce that could continue to make the subscription special. The suggestion being made that we could do a lottery, and whoever won that lottery got to come and brew with us for a day, and we could do other such things. Yeah, love that. Yeah, we'll definitely look at doing that. In fact, I'll have forgotten this by Monday. I will watch this video back, and then I will write down all these things that you've said. And then, we'll look at working on some of these things.
So, any more questions from the audience or the people at home? Audience might have to park yours because, there's none from back home.
Do something unprecedented.
You're going for a double piss as well.
I'm sorry. It's that West Coast one.
So, audience question?
At Henley Tap, you had a live band on. I think this year, have you got any plans to do more of that kind
live music? So we had some live music at our tap room in Oswaldwick. Last year we had quite a lot. This year we've had one or two. We've got a boxing event there tomorrow night. So we've got boxing going on at Henley Tap tomorrow night. So if you are local and you live in Oswaldwick and you don't have a ticket, don't walk up there because you won't get in. It's really popular, unfortunately. But yeah, we're always looking to do different events. We don't normally want to do them on a peak hours like Friday and Saturday if it'll displace our regulars. The boxing thing was a one-off, which we'd agreed to a while back, and we'll reassess after this weekend. But live music, we're always looking to do different things. Hanley's been great for that. So last year we had all sorts of different things. The guys actually from POC, aren't they? The guys from Soapy Events who organised it did a great job for us. Happily have different acts back again. The ones that we have, the Grand Old Dukes of York have done a few gigs for us there, and they've just sold the place out. Hopefully, there might be a small band called Shed 7 who might want to do something with us at some point. I know. Let's hope.
I think every Thursday though, is it open mic?
Oh, sorry, yeah, every Thursday. Audience question. Every Thursday at Hanley Tap in Oswaldwick, we have an open mic night now. And if there's no bands taking part, we have a house band who play. So come down to Oswaldwick on a Thursday night. My microphone.
And how long have we been doing that at Oswaldwick?
3 weeks, the open mic.
3 weeks.
Just 3 weeks.
I don't even know.
So hopefully I haven't damaged the microphone then by dropping it. Another question from the audience, I think. Yeah, it's working.
It's amazing, that, isn't it? Yeah. So I just got a glimpse of the technology where you can see all the equalizer levels and things.
Rolling off the back of that question, is there a possibility maybe that earlier on in the week, Mondays and Tuesdays might be a bit quieter, you could maybe do something like film night? What Well, at the market tap, yeah.
So it's like on a Monday and Tuesday at the market tap when we're a bit quieter, do film nights
Yeah,
upstairs
when
where we've got a big screen and stuff. Yeah,
When we
that'd be
go to
good.
my parents in Wales, they have the little local there as a, they put on an old film or whatever, and it gets people in and just.
Well, like Predator or like Aliens, maybe one like that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
good.
Definitely. There's a lot of stuff like that we can do. No, send us your ideas and suggestions, and then we'll feed it back to the managers and tell them if we.
It's a good suggestion, though. I like it.
Just gets more people in.
Now we've got the big screen.
Exactly.
You got it.
there's a big
Use
screen
it.
now.
Yeah, like that. Any final questions?
We've got one from Emma. Said a couple of lives back. You asked for Tonkoko variant suggestions. Any news on what ones are in the plan? Well, have you guys got any more suggestions?
How many are we up to now?
Oh, Jesus.
No. 56.
You don't want mine.
Coconut fruit, yeah.
I think we're somewhere between 15 and 20. I don't know.
No,
Exactly.
it's well above that.
Well, yeah.
Are we really?
It's nearer 30 now.
Is it?
If you
Wow.
take
Yeah.
Empress and everything into it, yeah.
Oh, and the different barrel variants and all that.
We're
Yeah,
up to
yeah.
30 plus.
We are considering doing something a little bit different for Empress release this year. Because that's always been pure barrel. We might do something different this year. But that's not agreed, not set in stone. We'll see.
Any new merchandise yet?
Latte mugs.
We've got latte mugs.
Well, they were supposed to be for the venues to serve their lattes in, but it's fucking massive. It's as big as the teacups we've got. It's ridiculous.
So, I'm saying we've got latte mugs, and as a non-coffee drinker, I don't even know. I
You
know
don't know
what
what a latte is.
I know what latte. It's the milky one, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah.
Just looking in the shop downstairs this morning, there's very little merchandise to what there used to be.
So we got a lot of feedback that we need some more merchandise in the shop. I 100% agree. Is anyone from marketing watching?
Oh Jesus! We're getting ourselves into it.
So got a Brianna suggestion.
Rhubarb umbrella. Is that what you said?
So we've actually reached the 9 o'clock cutoff. It's time for us to turn into pumpkins.
Are we allowed to start swearing now? Then?
Yeah. So amazing thank you everyone for joining us as always.
There's a bit of content we
Oh,
haven't done
sorry,
yet.
there's lots of content we haven't covered. Very rapidly, we got.
You know that bit where we tell people about what's coming up next?
We'll do a
Maybe we should do that
2 minute
first.
finish off then quickly. Let's tell you what's coming up.
Right. So in terms of what you're going to get in your beer box next month, so we're not saying exactly what, but we'll tell you what it will come from. So Hop Sessions 12, which is the hop changing pale, which as disclosed earlier is going to be Cascade Centennial Simcoe this time. We've got a white stout that is designed to taste like a custard cream. We have a West Coast pale that's been made with tooth and claw. And then we have lots of Christmas and Halloween beers that we're not yet willing to disclose the details of.
So
So some of those may well be in your box.
we're always in that difficult position where we produce our Christmas beers early to get to wholesalers and export, and if we don't put them in your box, then we end up in this position where the beers have been out for like a few weeks and you haven't had them. So we might put our Christmas beers in really early so you've got them well in advance. You don't have to drink them there and then, but I don't want you all then saying, why haven't we had it yet?
The best compromise we've got to is whether you opt to drink it or not, like Winston there, you should be one of the first guys to get it. So it will come out at the earliest opportunity to you, which will be either October or November. This year, we're in this weird position of we're upping our Halloween game. But we're likely in a position where we might be packaging our Christmas beers before our Halloween beers, which is ridiculous. So you might be getting your Christmas beers before your Halloween beers. But yeah, we'll see how that pans out as the month rolls on.
We can't get a Halloween beers after next month.
I know. Well, we're working on that. Leave that with us.
So a few events coming up. So we've mentioned it a couple of times already. So let's give another push. 18th to 21st of September, York Camera Beer Festival. So if you haven't already bought your tickets, buy them now. They're available online.
Get there early for a pint of Shankar.
Exactly. This weekend, 20th to 21st, Lee's across at Full Circle up in the Tyne.
Yeah, so I go on holiday on the Saturday and I'm at the Full Circle Beer Festival on the Friday. Needless to say, Polly is not very happy with me.
Next month, October, we've got the Yorktoberfest. So we're doing the beers, the lagers, as well as the festival special beers again. So that's 18th to 19th, and then it's a week break, and then 25th to 26th. We've also got a few Yorktoberfest beers in our, or Yorktoberfest fests going on in our own venues from the Thursdays.
So that only got publicised today, so I hadn't included it. So yeah, I think it's early October,
6th,
isn't it?
7th, 8th and 9th. So the 6th and 9th of October.
First weekend of October, in many of our venues, we will have an internal...
All of our venues.
All of them, where you pay £10.
You can turn up as normal, but if you want to, you can pay £10 for a festival special glass of lager or any festival beer, which you can keep the glass. So that's the, and then we're going to try and do on theme food and other stuff. So that's all of our venues.
And Wayne will be touring the venues in lederhosen.
Yeah, exactly.
Special glass.
Yes. Oh yeah. It's a handled. It's not Stein because the Stein's a 2-pint thing, but it's a Brew York.
It's a glass designed for lager consumption, so it's something new for us. And then 2nd of November, our long-awaited appearance at Dark and Wild at Northern Monk. I'd say there's a reasonable chance you're going to find both me and Wayne there for that one.
And I think every other member of the team who's trying to get a day out, it'd be pretty cool. So we want to be there. We're going to show off Emperor's is definitely going to be there. Our Emperor's Tonkoko collab in some form. We've got some pretty cool beers. We want to get into it. So
is that their venue?
It's at.
I believe it's in the old Flax store. The original.
It used to be in the original.
Yeah.
I think it's still out there.
The refectory.
Yeah.
Also known as the refectory. Yes, that one.
You've got something wrote on about Pocklington.
And then I downloaded. We have an internal events calendar administered by Mr. Waters, and there was something listed on there called Pocklington Town Council Christmas Festival from the 24th of November. I have no idea what we are doing there, but we're involved in it somehow because it was on our list.
It's a Christmas market, and it's it's a little store where we sell our Christmas news. Yeah.
Fine.
Sell it big.
So I think we do need merchandise. You're right. And then in terms of YouTube dates, next one is going to be, if I can turn the goddamn page, it's going to be Friday the 11th of October. One after that, Friday the 8th of November, and then
another Friday.
Once again, it goes to Friday the 13th of December. I think in all likelihood, most of them are going to be in this room again.
Christmas jumpers.
So Friday the 13th, Christmas jumpers will be compulsory. The shitter the better.
You can't all wear Slipknot.
Well, neither can I anymore. I got too fat, didn't I?
So
T-shirts acceptable.
Yeah, printed T-shirts.
Anything that reflects the season is good.
So massive thank you again for everyone for joining us tonight, and hopefully we'll enjoy your company for the next few months.
Sorry, and if I could double down on that thank you, because I know we're having a shift change today. Not today. We've announced a shift change. It doesn't come till January, but I want to say a massive thank you to, once again, everybody who supported us till this point in time. This is an evolution. This is not the end. So, well, yeah, Jesus.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, guys. See you next time.
See you soon.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.